Welcome to Intercultural Conflict Resolution. I am so happy to see the interest in this course, which I actually believe is the heart of NCRP. For the last couple of years, given my intercultural conflict resolution work and the work of our faculty, our students, the diversity of our program, I have been encouraging the program to adopt this course as one of our required courses rather than alternative dispute resolution. Hopefully that's going to happen in the next year or so. Most of you have not had a chance to visit our campus. You don't know our history, and you don't have the opportunity to fully appreciate our rich diversity. Even though online, if you get to know each other, and I'm very happy with how many of you do get to know each other, you will discover rich diversity as well, both domestic within the United States. We have always been quite popular with the African American community, both locally in Los Angeles, in Carson, but also the African community around the world. And we actually have one of our most renowned alumni, Mike Bergeson, now works with the African Union, and he hires the mediators that are doing international mediation throughout the African Union. That diversity is really the heart, the soul of our program. And those of you who have taken ethics of NCRP with me know a bit of my life story, that I was born into a multicultural, multilingual family where 3 languages were spoken, and where, because of the relatively recent immigration from Norway, I believe my cross-cultural influences were as much Norwegian as American. My grandmother was born in Norway, and I have a very large extended family I grew up with intimately. So I was richly blessed with my upbringing. And fortunately, several of you have had the opportunity, as I have had the opportunity, to live in other countries and cultures for extended periods of time. I recommend this for any of you who hope to do intercultural conflict resolution. We are now in a time where the globe is richly connected, where cultures are getting to know each other as never before. So with that, welcome to Intercultural Conflict Resolution. My first lecture, and those of you who've had me before, I think all of you had, know that I believe in maybe 10, 15, 20-minute lectures online. And that is what I plan to do today as I review your syllabus. Your syllabus is your contract with me for the course. It contains every detail you need to know in order to do your best in this course. And so I will try to not read the syllabus. I trust you have already read it more than once, and I hope you have emailed me with your questions, and will continue to do so throughout the course. But today what I will do is try to focus on what I see as most important. And once again, if I don't cover something, you're always welcome to email me. If you decide to post your questions in Blackboard, just email me to let me know that you'd like a response in Blackboard. As you know, I go in pretty much every day during the course, but I don't necessarily see every question, every request of me, so I appreciate that consideration. Okay, I have the syllabus in front of me today, and let me start by saying, because I see this course as so vital to conflict resolution, to NCRP in the world today, I give you more latitude with this elective than I do in any of the required courses. you get to pick, aside from one required text, and that required text is going to be one of Hofstede's texts on exploring culture. Some of you know that Hofstede is a renowned researcher of cultures. I think his original research was done by IBM as it expanded its reach globally years ago. He has also been controversial among traditional social science academic researchers because he is highly practical in his work. He's not just interested in getting his PhD in Asian American studies, for example. He is interested in figuring out how to actually work with cultures around the world, how to bridge cultural difference, establish communication, establish relationship and understanding. And so I find him quite useful for NCRP. Most of you have the same aspirations. Very few of you go on to get PhDs. Those of you who do have many years to study the traditional academic research of various cultures, whether that's in anthropology, sociology, one of the other social sciences. But those of you who are here to be practitioners in our field are also hungry for practical insight, understanding that will help you in negotiating across culture, in mediating, various cultures other than your own. And so I find the Hofstede and Peterson book quite helpful. I will also be explaining in a week or so, because he has created what he calls synthetic cultures, artificial cultures. I find it's a lower risk way of studying culture than asking you, as I did at UC Berkeley many years ago, to have students go into the library and study what academic researchers have said about the cultures that they identify with. Now, my experience with that exercise is the majority of my students, and they, represented the diversity of California, African, Latino, Asian American cultures, international cultures. They were offended by what academic researchers were saying about their cultures. So a synthetic artificial cultural construct can help you start to understand your own culture as well as others without offending anyone, because it's not linked with an actual living culture. Okay, the other options I give you with books, I'll come to this in a minute, allow you to choose what particular cultures you want to study in this course. So you can pick your own, however you identify, and I'm going to, because NCRP, despite years of discussing a religion and conflict course, has yet to do that, I am going to give you a chance to choose among world religions as well. So you have a lot of choice, a lot of flexibility, and there will be a lot of diversity in this course. Okay, let me go back to the first page of your syllabus. The most important information here, my number, though my email is actually most important because I'm normally only on campus when I teach on campus, and this semester that's once a week. So if you want an immediate response, please email me. I check my email. If I receive your email, I should respond within 24 to 48 hours. And students who have worked with me know that's true. If you don't receive a response, it's because I have not received your email. The other most important information on the first page are the learning outcomes, because those of you who have studied with me have learned that I use these learning outcomes to evaluate all your graded work. I recommend you use them whenever you evaluate, proofread your graded work before turning it in to turn it in. It's a great way to earn several additional points. And the other way that always works is to use spell check and proofread your writing. If you are still struggling with graduate level writing, I recommend Tutors. Dominguez Hills has some good resources for those of you living close to campus. PEGS is a special program for graduate students. Otherwise, you all have resources in your communities, even friends who write well, who will give you a fresh eye, a look at your writing, can help you earn more points. Okay, I'm going to the second page. You will be using your own cultural style as you participate in this course. Now, using and showing people our cultural styles is much easier than describing to others our culture or our cultures. That is a lifelong journey, and if some of you want to start that journey in this class, that's great. I still find most of my American students, for example, struggle with describing in detail, particularly NCRP detail, what their cultures entail. We're just not that self-conscious, and a course like this asks you to become more self-conscious. Now, the requirements for this course are like most of the courses. You will be graded on your preparation for class discussion, Blackboard posting, and you will be graded on your actual understanding from the assigned reading, whether it's accurate, how you relate with each other. I will also be asking you to do weekly field practice assignments. You will learn very shortly, well, I'll introduce it right now. I don't believe you can learn culture, and particularly intercultural or multicultural, unless you are prepared to go beyond your comfort zone and immerse yourself in culture. And so field assignments are quite relevant for learning what you need to learn in this course. I'll go into more detail in a few minutes. You will also have a final project, which is a presentation. And you can do that via YouTube, PowerPoint. Students do it many different ways. And let me read this. It will include, 1, your personal cultural and religious story narrative with some examples of how your cultural and religious groups approach communication, gender, and interreligious dialogue. 2, your NCRP vision plan ideals and intercultural, interreligious strengths based on feedback received in your field assignments and other real-world experience. 3, your greatest and most important learnings in this course about yourself and others, with generous reference to all readings done throughout the course, as well as your teaching and learning activities. Now, I conclude by saying to earn full points, I give you the pages, typed APA citation, and demonstrate the course learning outcomes in their entirety. At least one, and preferably several concepts, principles, theories, approaches, and styles from this course. Now, for those of you who have never taken, most of you should have already taken NCRP 522, Negotiation Tactics, and NCRP 525, Mediation. We're not quite as coordinated, organized, structured as we were maybe 6 years ago. So it's possible some of you are in this course without those prerequisites. If you are, I recommend negotiation texts and mediation texts as your secondary required reading. So you will not have the choices that students who have taken those courses have, but they will help you fill in the gaps to help you excel in this course. And the students reading negotiation texts are expected to share and discuss how these texts contribute to what I just described in the final project. Those doing the mediation text likewise are expected to relate what I just reviewed with the mediation text. Okay, I'm going on to page 3. And you will see the books for NCR 522 or NCRP 525. There are various options depending. Some of you may have taken 522 but not 525. Some of you may have not taken both courses. So the rest of this page describes that. And then I'm asking you to pick a book exploring your own self-identified culture, religion, or both. Now, if you have substitute books that you would like to request as a book for the course, please just write me. Obviously, I'm quite open. I often prepare for working with various cultures around the world by reading their literature, and that is something I recommend to all of you as well. Okay, now the next page, page 4 and page 5, give you some ideas of books that will work for this course. And I might suggest, if you know you have some prejudice, fear, or even just ignorance about another religion or culture, you might prioritize studying that religion culture for this course. The first book on top of page 4 is a book recommended for studying Islam. This is a text of various Arab writers. It's called Crescent and Dove, Peace and Conflict Resolution in Islam. I think you will find it fascinating. Following that is a well-respected book that was written by one of my colleagues, Mark Gopin, who is Jewish, has written Bridges Across an Impossible Divide, The Inner Lives of Arab and Jewish Peacemakers. And this continues with Hindu Jain religion, a Gandhi reader, a Buddhist text in NCRP, Christian, Catholic, Latino, Latina, and on and on. The possibilities are endless. I hope I have given you some rich choices. If you go to page 5, you're going to perhaps be a little shocked, but it makes sense in our program. On top of the page is a business text because some of you are interested in navigating cultural difference within the business context. And business is arguably its own culture, especially corporate business. And this is a well-respected book that many of our students have enjoyed, Riding the Waves of Culture, Understanding Diversity in Global Business. Following that is a global environmental anti-materialism text, a couple of them actually that are well-respected, one on pacifism and another on terrorism. My friend and colleague Mark Juergensmeyer was just invited to Dominguez Hills because he became quite famous with his text, Terror in the Mind of God, The Global Rise of Religious Violence. Any of those work for this course. Okay, I only have a couple of more minutes to review your syllabus. I highly recommend the grading rubric on page 6 that you study it and use it when you are submitting graded Turnitin documents. Now, page 7 starts your assignments. Each week you are expected to keep a private journal in which you explore the following. Based on your reading and learning activities, how do you describe your culture, and that can be plural, and its approaches to communication, conflict, problem-solving dialogue, and other NCRP variables? Do you have an internal conflict, prejudice challenge with any of the cultures or religions you are studying or experiencing in the class? And as the class progresses, try to explore and identify the ways this is changing as you learn and experience. Considering your reading of choice, how are you living your religious or cultural ideals? And then, of course, you will earn weekly participation points. The 3 field assignments are described along with the 3 2- to 3-page field reports, and then your final presentation. Last but not least is your calendar. The dates of each week are here, along with the topics that we will generally be covering. I think I've done enough with highlighting your syllabus. Please send me any questions and I'll happily respond. Have a good week.